people? It's your boy, Uncle Fred. And look who I got with me right over in the driver's seat. It's my homeboy, TK, man. And we right now, this is Christmas if you're a football fan. Super Bowl Sunday, Super Bowl 58. You got the Kansas City Chiefs playing the San Francisco 49ers in a much anticipated Super Bowl of two superpower teams put together two different ways. A game that's much anticipated, a throwback to 4 years ago when these same two teams met. And but I'm excited, man, about the game and about what it's got going and the implications. You got one quarterback that's just trying to establish himself as one of the better quarterbacks in the league on a great team, and you got another guy that's at the precipice of immortality. All right. And so we're going to talk about that. But real briefly, we're just going to talk about how we got here. Okay. Because these teams didn't get here by happenstance, right? They got here. They played two thrilling games 2 weeks ago in their respective conference championship games. The first one being the Kansas City Chiefs going into M&L Bank Stadium, M&K Bank Stadium in Baltimore. And I thought that game was interesting because I felt like Baltimore had the better team, but I felt like Kansas City had the better player. And my impressions of that game briefly is that I felt like for that first quarter and a half, it was sort of like Kansas City took it to Baltimore, and Baltimore was not able to respond due to, and I'm just going to say it, I didn't think it was Todd Monken's greatest hour. He's the offensive coordinator of the Baltimore Ravens. And I thought Andy Reid was in his bag. I thought he called, Baltimore's a little aggressive, and they was playing a little short game, little 8-9 yard passes, 4 and 5 yard runs. Pacheco's getting runs, 3rd and 5. Mahomes running for 8-9 yards, getting first downs. 3rd and 5, hitting Kelsey for 10 yards, keeping the chains moving, and just nickel and diming it on down there. Then he hits Kelsey for the touchdown at 7-0. Baltimore comes right back. There was a play that Baltimore had on their drive. I think they went like 76 yards on their drive. It was a 4th and 1 where Lamar goes for like 20 yards. And it looked like he should have got more yards on that because a lot of people were like, what are you doing, man? You sidestepping. You could have got like 55 yards on that play. Could have went to the house. But they ended up getting a touchdown on that drive about 4 plays later, a 30-yarder to Zay Flowers, tied it up. Kansas City comes right back and does it right there. And it just sort of seemed like they were just a little bit ahead of Baltimore. Second half looked like Baltimore made adjustments, but Todd Monken didn't. And my final impressions was I didn't think that Todd Monken gave Lamar Jackson the opportunity to compete in the game in which he should have competed at. Because I felt like, well, the stats tell it all. Lamar only ran the ball 6 times. Gus Edwards, their bruising running back, had 3 carries. The heck you doing here? Baltimore is like one of the most bruising, physically running football teams in the league. And then if you take the misdirection and the threat of the run out of the passing game, then you kind of leaving Lamar as a sitting duck. Second possession, he had a strip sack fumble by Charles Omenihu because they threw it on 3 consecutive downs. What are you doing? And so that was my impressions. I thought that, Kansas City did what they did. Second half, I thought like you weren't down, but 10 points. If they made the right adjustments, you could still run the ball. I still think Baltimore could have won that game. But what are your thoughts, TK?
I'm not going to, issue a bunch of blame on Todd Monken. At the end of the day, man, Lamar wanted to stand in the pocket and go blow for blow with the greatest. And I appreciate the mentality and the approach, but there is you there is something to be said about handicapping yourself and
Mm-hmm.
trying to do that.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's, you know, also on Lamar himself as much as
Yes.
it is Todd Monken. It's just the approach and the game plan
Yeah.
appeared to me to be something that Lamar wanted, but not necessarily what should have happened if you're going to win the game. And hey, I know you want your respect, two-time MVP. You want people to respect you for the quarterback that you are in that spot, in that moment, with that on the line. I just feel like you got to go do what works for you, man.
Yeah.
And if it requires tucking that thing 12 times and flipping, the script, then that's just what you got to do and live with it and be fine with winning the game,
Yeah.
however you need to do it. So
Yeah.
it felt like way too much, you want to stand in the pocket and you want to, it's like a boxer. You want to meet in the middle. I get it. But
Yeah.
that was a very winnable game for
Yeah.
Baltimore. So it's a little disappointing that they didn't find a way to get it done. They had ample opportunities over and over again. Um, and hey, at the end of the day, like we said, even when we were predicting it, you're going to play into Kansas City's hands and play the
Mm-hmm.
game they want you to play, and that's what you're going to get. And
Yeah.
that's what they got. They got the L. So um, credit to Kansas City, but
Yeah.
I'll say I think there was a winning approach there to be had for Baltimore, and they just didn't take it.
There you go. I'm going to use a boxing analogy. We're going to go on to the Lions and 49ers here, but it's sort of like a boxing analogy. You know how like they talk about in the boxing game, they say, styles make fights. If you are a puncher and the other guy's like a guy that wants to run and jump, you can't play his game. You got to play your game.
Mm-hmm.
And to me, Lamar's superpower is at any moment he can tuck that thing and just go, and you ain't nothing you can do about it.
Yeah,
And if you take that off the table, it's I'm just gonna stand in the pocket, and I think you sort of like, you playing like you said, you play into their hands, and I think for the first half, flipping the script here, I felt like Andy Reid had Mike McDaniel on skates. Second half, Mike McDonald made adjustments, and they shut that down in the second half. And I thought there was ample time for them to have gotten back in the game. But again, you got to play it. You got to dance with the girl that brung you, or dance with the one that brung you. And that's not how they got there. Was Lamar running it here, passing it here. You don't know if he's running it. You don't know if Gus Edwards has it or he has it. That's their secret sauce. And if you want to take the secret sauce off the table and play it, we're gonna play it straight vest. Okay, you kind of got what you got. So, uh, but anyway, Kansas City win. Hats off to them. The great Patrick Mahomes back in the Super Bowl for the fourth time in 5 years. What can you say, man? What can you say? All right, man, we move over to Levi Stadium. The 49ers taking on the Detroit Lions. And look, man, like we said on our video, nobody was pulling for the 49ers. I promise you, only the people in Santa Clara and Northern California was rooting for the 49ers in that game, okay? Even though I picked the 49ers because I felt like they might have been the better team, but deep down, I'm rooting for the daggone Detroit Lions, right?
mm-hmm.
And they ran that thing down their throat, and they just took control of the game. They got pressure on Purdy when they had the ball, stopped their offense, and they was able to run. They was able to get some nice passes to Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jahmyr Gibbs was just doing the daggum thing, man. And they built a 24-7 lead. I was talking to a friend of mine. I said, man, this bad boy over with. And we was like, well, I don't know. I said, man, if you know the game like I do, and I'm not saying I'm some kind of expert, I know there's a certain way that every team wins. Everybody's got a style that they have to win in. And if you take them out of their style, like we were just talking about Baltimore, you try to make them a straight pocket passer in their offense, it's sort of like didn't play into their game. 49ers, you get up 2-3 scores on them, they're not like a quick strike team. They're like a grinded out kind of team. They're kind of like, 8, 9, 10 plays, 70 yards, And if you get up 3 scores, you kind of got to depend on getting a quick one, getting a 50, 60 yarder. You got to, a pick 6 or fumble 6 or something like that. If you just play your game, you got a 17-point lead. You should pretty much have that game in hand. But funny thing happened in the second half, man. There's something to be said for being aggressive, TK.
Mm-hmm.
There's another thing to be said for being just a tad bit reckless, not understanding time and score, not understanding how it's so easy for an NFL game for that momentum to shift, and then you can't get that thing back. Once it flips into the other column, it's like let me get, and you can't get it back. And I felt like once San Francisco gutted it out and got a field goal to start the second half, made it 24-10. I felt like the Lions came back and had a chance to eliminate that field goal with a field goal of their own at 4th and 3. But they decided to get aggressive and go for a 4th and 3. And, true enough, the guy should have called it. I think it was, was it Reynolds? Wasn't it Reynolds that dropped it? Was it Reynolds?
I'm not sure.
It was one of them. I think it was Reynolds. And it sort of seemed like from that point on, the 49ers said, okay. And then they got that. They got the one thing you need. They got a fluke 50-yarder to Ayuk that should have been picked or should have been a pass breakup. Got deflected in his hand. They scored 2 plays later. That's 24-17. That's a freaking 7-point game now. 2 plays later, Jahmyr Gibbs fumbles. I'm like, you got to be freaking kidding me, right? I believe, honestly, if Dan Campbell kicks that field goal and they eliminate that field goal that the 49ers just got, I feel like the 49ers might have been like, dang, we did all that. We scratched and clawed and got that field goal, man, and they came right back and just answered it, made it like that didn't happen. And I think that would have done something to them. Sometimes you can, make a team pack it in. I'm not saying the 49ers would have quit. I'm just saying, that gave them life when they went for that 4th down and they didn't get it. That's like, oh, snoop, we got them off the field. Let's go. So, and I think that changed the thing, and they got it. And then it seemed like from that point on, Detroit couldn't convert a 3rd down. Guys was dropping passes. It's just like, and then they had another chance to tie the game up on a 4th and 3. They tried, and the play was just ill-conceived. And then once they got that touchdown, I knew the game was over at that point. But Detroit had their opportunities, man. They had their opportunities. But the 49ers go on. What are your thoughts on that one? We're going to go on to this Super Bowl and see what you think.
Yeah. I mean, we saw how it played out. Detroit came out and proved the theory that Green Bay exposed, that that defense can be had. You can make some big plays, chunk plays, and if you come out aggressive, you can hit them in the mouth. And that was 2 weeks in a row, back to back, that team was able to do that successfully in San Francisco. So Detroit had the firepower going in. It's just a matter of whether or not they could ultimately sustain. Turns out that firepower got them out to a great lead, and they just couldn't sustain it. So, it's like just to lean on boxing one more time, man. They threw their best punches early, and it dazed them.
Boxing analogy, man. Yes, sir.
That's it, man. But, man, a team that's been there before, just they settled in and they bounced back.
Yeah.
In that second half, they just, they did what you're going to have to do to win the game at that point. And they just strategically, methodically walked them down. And now your defense is into it. Everybody's invested. You're at home.
Yeah.
Relief is back. And
oh, yeah. Crowd back in the game. Shoot, man. What you talking about, man? I knew once they went up 34-24, man, I'm like, man, come on, man. Like I said, it's like they couldn't do nothing. I got a chat in here. Guy said, the 49ers won because Purdy did what Jackson wouldn't do. He used his leg. He got 51 yards. Brock Purdy ain't supposed to be able to run. Ran for 51 yards in the second half.
Hey man, I agree. He took what was
That's
there.
a good point, Crypt Keeper. Good point, man.
Take what's there, man.
Yeah. They shut down some of their, Detroit played a good defensive game, man, for about 3 quarters, two and a half quarters there. And then, and he used his legs and got some first downs and kept the chains moving. Dan Campbell's choice to go for it on fourth down, that's what beat him. And I think, too, somebody was saying the other day that he thought that his decision to not go for it before the half was kind of iffy, too. Because, like, okay, what would the difference been if you be up 24-7 or 21-7 as opposed to 28-7 or 24-7? Because it was at the 3-yard line. You could have just went for it and got it and whatever, but you chose to be safe there. But you went for broke on those two others, And even on the touchdown they got late in the game, they tried to run it on second down and made them have to use one of their 3 timeouts, which meant that they had to kick the onside kick. Had they did on third down what they did on second down and got the touchdown, I know if it was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. I get all that. Maybe they could have just kicked it away, stopped it on first down, stopped it on second down, stopped it on third down. You're only down 3. And sometimes it's the little things, the little decisions that you make that, and like I said, I was hurting for Detroit, man. Always take the points. There you go, Crypt Keeper. Always take the points. Hey, man, Detroit was hurting, man, because I was pulling for them. Never been in a Super Bowl before in their life. Ain't been to the NFC Championship game in 30 some odd years, man. That was there for them. But at last it wasn't. 49ers win 34-31. And exciting games. Some what you would call strategic errors, I think, on how the game was played and which teams won. So we get the 49ers and the Chiefs today. So what are your thoughts on this game, man? It's gonna be kicking off in a little bit, so we want to kind of get our little analysis in, and we're gonna go ahead and take this into the house so we can watch this game and see what's going on, man. So what is your first impressions there, TK?
Glad everybody, gets to the game and, everybody starts healthy. The main players on both sides of the ball for both teams, pretty much everybody's here. So, healthy teams, ready to give their best shot. It's a Vegas atmosphere, so I'm sure, the Legion will be jumping. And, for me, it's 2 sides of a coin. On one side, Mahomes is attempting to really cement a key element of his amazing start to a career. He's got a chance to put a button on something today that just really starts to establish him in a true tier of his own. And that's what's in front of him today. And on the other side of the coin is it's an opportunity. You made it all the way back here to get a chance to redeem yourselves if you're the 49ers. This is the guy that took it from you before, and this is a guy that has no problem taking it from you again. So the type of motivation I think they'll have, there are new parts. There's a key new part in Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah,
that was not here the first time. So
yes,
along with the fact that that's Brock Purdy and not Jimmy G.
Right.
We'll see what that means today, but for now, hey, we'll see what you got, man. You're gonna have to look 1-5 in the face,
right?
And we go to war today. So it's been so far so good for Brock Purdy to me, in my opinion.
Yeah.
We know why he's there. He's there to manage the offense. He's there to not make mistakes and
take what's there.
take what's there. And
Yeah, yeah.
I think
He's done that. He's
he did
done that.
a great job, and it's got
Yeah,
him all the
yeah,
way.
he's done that.
It's gotten him and that team all the way back here once again, up against a familiar foe. So,
Yeah,
hey man, if you split the series today, we might be looking at a good old rivalry. You know what I mean? So, a lot of motivation on both sides. Um, a lot of sideshow activity on the Chiefs side for obvious reasons I don't care to talk about. Um, don't know how much that affects or doesn't affect the team, but that's a hungry team on the other side.
oh
That
yeah.
feel like they got one taken from them,
Mm-hmm.
not
Right,
stolen, taken.
right,
Holmes
right.
took it from you, and now it's like, okay,
Can we get this one back?
we gotta
They got a chance to get a do over, don't they?
needs to get back. Needs to get back today. So I think that's a
Yeah,
very motivated team. Granted, going off the work so far, 2 games into the playoffs, they have shown that they're susceptible on, the defensive
yeah,
side of the ball.
yeah.
The name recognition of that defense hasn't necessarily lived up to, the performance. So
Right.
maybe a lot of openings and opportunities to exploit if you're Kansas City.
Yeah.
We know at this point, 3 games for them in what type of style they want to fight with, so to speak, in order to win. And so far, so good for them. So, it's a test of wheels and who's going to bend and ultimately
Mhm.
break. And um, I'm not going to bet against Pat. I did that last week. Granted,
We both did. We both did.
there's a lot of bias in it.
We
I
got
believe,
our hands slapped.
yeah,
We
yeah.
got both of us got our hands slapped.
Wanted
Um,
wanted Lamar. My bias kicked in. I wanted Lamar to have an opportunity on that stage, but
right.
greatness is greatness, man. Pat got it done, so here we are again in a familiar spot with this guy, and I'm just gonna stay on Pat's side of this here. So
Okay.
um, somehow, some way, Chiefs, man. Uh, I can look, at the rosters. I could feel like Kansas City has more firepower, more potential, to put together a game on both sides of the ball that could dominate. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I could say all of that, and it could be very well true. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm just not gonna pick against Pat today. So
Not gonna pick against Mahomes. Let me say this. You mentioned something here earlier about, it's a replay of 4 years ago, but there's some different elements that are involved. 49ers got a running back that they got a remember what I call Patrick Mahomes on our little pre-show yesterday. I called him I ain't gonna say it on here. Christian McCaffrey is one of them too.
yeah, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, he's one of them.
Yeah,
Okay. 1,400 yards, 1459, 14 touchdowns. Like he had, I don't know, probably about 50, 40, 50 catches too. I don't have the stats in front of me, but I know that's kind of what he does. What's going on, Cowboy Huddle? Uh,
that was up.
yeah, but an element that's not there. You mentioned that McCaffrey and then Jimmy G, who's sort of like a loose cannon, if you will. I think you can consider Jimmy G like a loose cannon because he sometimes, Brock Purdy is kind of like the anti Jimmy G. Steady as you go. And I'm gonna let my play caller call my plays. I'm gonna get in the looks that I want, and I'm gonna and in my opinion, I think Kyle Shanahan prepares you pretty much for everything that you're gonna see. Okay, and the other thing that ain't probably not being mentioned as much as the element is not there that was there is there this year that's not there 4 years ago. The Kansas City defense might be almost elite this year. Um, whereas 4 years ago they were just out there. They just they're just out there just kind of like, okay, can we get a stop? Every fourth possession, can we get a stop? Every fourth possession, can we get a stop? And we'll just let Mahomes do his magic. This time, the Kansas City defense is like second in the league in points and somewhere in the top 5 in yardage. They got like 2-3 dudes with 5, 6, 7 sacks apiece. I mean, Steve Spagnuolo has put a good defense together, whereas Mahomes don't have to like, hey man, I can go out here and no, I don't have to do that because my defense can get stops. I can pick my spots now. I can, that's going to be an element. I don't know if because I'm gonna tell you just like this: Brock Purdy ain't seeing a defense like he's gonna see tomorrow or tonight. And what this might be the best secondary he's gonna see in Trent McDuffie and Jadarius Sneed. The linebackers are underrated. Nick Bolton, I know I can't say that dude's name. It's George Kalafis. I know I ain't saying it right. And then what you gonna do with Chris Jones? Chris Jones gets by. He just does what he does. He just, nobody can seem to block him when he sets his mind to want to get to the quarterback. So they're smart, and they don't give up big plays. So it's gonna be interesting, man. And then my whole thing is this: if you're Kyle Shanahan, if you don't win it this year, when are you gonna win it? That's my question, because he's been branded this great play caller, and he is. But in the games that matter, sometimes he gets too cute to be effective. You got a team here. You can say this is almost like a super team, except for the quarterback. Okay, but he's got a chance to establish himself as a guy. If you don't win it this year, when are you gonna win one? So I think the 49ers are capable of winning this championship. Okay, I just don't think they will. I got the Chiefs, and I'm throwing out all my conspiracy theories and all that stuff because I've been saying for the longest, don't nobody want repeat champions, because nobody repeats, because they don't like repeat champions. I'm putting on my tinfoil hat for me. They don't like repeat champions because the viewing public tends to like tune you off if they already know who's going to win. They kind of tune you out, whereas in my day, we look for, if the Cowboys is winning every year, I got to plug my Cowboys. If it was the Broncos in the late 90s, and if it was the Patriots in their mid to early 2000s, in the 2020, 2010s, but now if a team wins it, we tired of them. Now, let's get somebody else in here. So I just think that Mahomes has an opportunity to do some great things. Like I said, win 3 Super Bowls before you're 27. At the age of 27, that's special, man. That's special. I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs. Okay? The 49ers can win this game. I just don't think they will. I got the Chiefs winning it. I think Kansas City, if the game is close and you get that ball to number 15 with a minute and a half left or less or more, with a chance to win it, I just don't see how you keep them from doing it. Give me a score. I don't know, because I don't think it's going to be extremely high scoring. Because I think both teams can play defense. When I look at the injury report, I know they're kind of healthy. But I do know that Charles Omenihu, that pass rusher, number 90, he's got ACL. He's out for the year on IR. I know that Jared McKinnon's a game time decision. He was on IR with a groin pull. He's kind of very essential to their running and passing game. He's very versatile. I think they said that Kadarius Toney wouldn't play, and I found that to be surprising because I know, dude, what the heck could he have done in the locker room? and for him not to play in a Super Bowl. Dude, this is the Super Bowl. You kind of want all hands on deck here. Aside from him threatening Andy Reid's life, what could you have done to get put in that kind of doghouse? Because I don't think he's injured.
No, he's a healthy scratch.
Huh?
He's a healthy scratch.
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna need all hands on deck here, man. I don't right. Mahomes only needed 13 seconds to beat the Bills that year. Right. That did only need 13 seconds. So you give him a minute and a half, man. It might be way too much. So I got the Kansas City Chiefs. I don't know. I got Kansas City. I'll say it's going to be along the lines of like 24, 21, 27, 21, something like that. I don't think it's 35, 31. I know what me and my son was talking about. I think it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be that high scoring. I really don't, because if you've noticed lately, Kansas City don't really get to 30 now.
No.
Because they don't really have to.
It's
Once upon a time, they had to get to 30, okay? Because the defense is like a sieve, right? That defense will hold now. So I can just, Andy Reid can be judicious with his play calls and stuff now, because I know I got a defense that'll hold them, and I can kind of, So I got Kansas City winning. I'm going to say 27-24. I mean, I don't want to get into the scores and stuff because that thing gets crazy. I say 27-24. That's where I'm going to go with that. I'm going to stick with that. I got Kansas City. Crypt Keeper says 24-13. We along the same line somewhere in there. I don't feel like it's going to be real high scoring. I just don't. Any other thoughts, man? Because if not, man, we're gonna slide on off of here. I just wanted to kind of put in my little 2 cents on the Super Bowl. Like I said, it's the football lovers' Christmas. It's our Christmas, man. It's like with all the stuff, you would hope that your team would be playing for it, but we're not in it. But as a football fan, I'm gonna watch it because, of course, I am. And hey man, it's a treat, and it's a treat. You get two teams that's going to provide some excitement. So, hey man, it could have been worse, man. You could have had I'm trying to think. You could have had say Tampa Bay and say Cleveland. Could have been somebody like that, and it'd have been a snooze fest. So I think we've got two quality teams, two good coaches, two good defenses. And as I said on our pre-show yesterday, we were supposed to do our show yesterday. We apologize, but sometimes life happens in the process of putting these shows together. But we looking at two teams that put their Super Bowl teams together two different ways. You got one team that's got a superstar quarterback and they built around him, versus a team that went, hey, we're gonna star-stud the team, and we're just gonna put a quarterback in there that's just gonna kind of get the ball to the playmakers, and we're gonna win it that way. We're gonna win that way. And both teams find their way to the Super Bowl. So which way is the correct way? Whichever way fits your team's profile, because they both got here is doing it the way they did it. And whichever team wins it puts an egg or puts something in the basket for the theory, we got to have a superstar quarterback. Or no, you build up a super team. Whichever team wins it, that's a vote for that methodology of team building. So that's just something I thought I'd add to the mix there. But what else you got, man? What else you got?
Nothing, man. We both on Pat Mahomes' side for this one. So if anything, man, just shout out to you, man. Great season. You've been diligent all year. I'll pop in and do the picks with you. Had a good time this year, man. Look forward to everything willing, getting back to it again for next football season. But
yeah, man,
it's a ride, man. So appreciate you. Anybody
it's been a ride, man. Oh, let me address a comment the Crypt Keeper has said here. It kind of goes back a little bit, and I think it's pretty interesting here because it kind of goes to what you was rooting for in the championship game. He just said, I mean, he didn't have to tell us, what nationality he is, but he said, I'm white and I live in the so-called Chiefs Kingdom. I think I remember reading he was in Missouri. He said he wanted the Lamar to get a Lombardi because we know how special Lamar is. I mean, he's got a skill set that's just freakishly, and you can't help but root for that dude. This is like you've never seen a guy do that before. So you wanted to see what that would look like on that grand stage. So I just want to put that out there, but that he said that because me, TK all felt the same way. It's like, I know Patrick Mahomes is great, but dude, when that dude decides to take off and go, man, it's like he got the defense on a string, man. And he's just playing with them. And yeah, I wanted to see that today, but we didn't get that. But we're gonna see next year because I think that team's still gonna be good. I mean, they're gonna have some decisions to make in the free agency market of who they want to keep, and who goes and whatnot. But as long as they got that guy, and as long as they got a couple of them running backs, as long as they got Kyle Hamilton, Roquan Smith, I think they're gonna be fine. And Marlon Humphrey, I think they'll be fine. But anyway, like you said, man, this sort of like the end of the TK Uncle Fred pick'em shows. Now I might come in maybe the night after the game and kind of give my analysis of what I thought of the Super Bowl, what I thought the keys were. But in terms of like doing a pick'em show, man, this is kind of like a sayonara, man. That's like I said, man. And I get up on Saturday mornings and I'll be looking forward to it. Man, me and TK got to get on here and get our picks in. We got to get our picks in. Man, the season comes in and it goes so fast, man. It goes so fast. But you know what? It's going to be training camp here. And before you know it, it's going to be free agency time here before you know it. It's going to be preseason before we know it. You know what, TK? God willing, we'll be right back here about September doing the same thing.
Sure, absolutely.
We're going to be back here doing the same thing with a new and improved. We're going to try to do something we ain't do year before. So we're going to try to do more, give you more, and give you better analysis because I'm committed to try to be better. So with nothing else, man, we want to thank all those who's on the show today. Crypt Keeper, man, you've been my guy, man. Appreciate you coming in with us and giving us your analysis, man. The Cowboy Huddle, a couple of other people that kind of came on that was rolling with me, man. Appreciate you guys, and until we meet again, man, we're gonna sign off. And let's watch a good Super Bowl, man. Let's watch us a good Super Bowl. And we'll catch you guys on the next video. God bless. We'll catch you guys next time. Peace out.